मॉर्निंग एव्हरीबडी स्टुडंट. नमस्कार विद्यार्थी मित्रमैत्रिणींनो. तर आज आपण अपॉन वेस्टमिन्स्टर ब्रिज ह्या पोएमची जे ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग ॲक्टिव्हिटी आहे ती आपण पाहणार आहोत. आपण आईस ब्रेकर ॲक्टिव्हिटी आहे ती पाहिलेली आहे. आता आपण ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग ॲक्टिव्हिटी पाहणार आहोत. सो फर्स्ट ऑल ऑफ we know the meaning of that poem. Already we have see or you see in the previous lecture of upon Westminster Bridge. Then you understand William Wordsworth. So then you understand William Wordsworth as a poet was enthralled by as a panoramic landscape, beauty, calm, quiet nature before him. So this poem has first published in the collection of poems in 2 volumes in 87. So in the summer of 82, the poet William Wordsworth was traveling with his sister Dorothy to go out of the town. They had to cross over the Westminster Bridge on the river Thames. The title of the poem is significant as it directly takes us to the scene which has inspired the poet to admire the natural beauty around the city of London at dawn, right in the beginning of the poet, who is famous for his love for nature, personalities, earth, telling the readers how touching as it looks early in the morning. So he does not even hesitate to say that the earth appears majestic and goes to the extent of commenting that anyone who fails to notice this majesticity is a dull person, and it is that person's loss only. The poet who is used to the city of London bustling with activities is really surprised to feel the calmness all around him. So here he is not presenting nature. He is not presenting nature but a big city with wonders of nature that can be felt by a nature lover like him. So the city appears to him like a lady who has changed her attire. Of course, the poet mentions the man-made structure like ships, towers, domes or theaters and temples. But all these are surprisingly quiet at this time of the day before the routine activity of the day begin. The absolutely smokeless air, absence of fog, the bright sunlight touching the entire landscape mesmerize the poet. He feels fortunate to experience such a scene since it does not happen so often. So he feels it foolish to just pass by, ignoring in thinking that he might get another chance to see it. To the poet, as we know about that, he is a nature lover. The beauty of the city of London early in the morning even surpasses the beauties of nature. He used to praise highly. He used to praise highly that is of valley, rocks or hill, the element of nature, natural landscape. He is in a way of the solitude which is so soothing. Even the river is flowing calmly on its own will without disturbing the peaceful nature. In his astonishment, he addressed God to express his wonder that London, which is the hub of so many important activities, has turned into an epitome of beauty now as it is asleep. So the poem is a pentatonic sonnet which has got a first part of the lines called octave that introduces the awestruck poet's first experience of calm and quiet London at dawn. In the last 6 lines called sestet, he explains the reason for his wonder because he has never expected, he has never expected such serenity in his familiar, ever busy city of London. The presentation of the freshness of the city, the presentation of freshness of the city appeals to the readers as the poet makes it appear more beautiful than even the splendors of countryside. The poet has got its elements of amazement since it is unexpected to the poet as well as to the readers. So this is we call it as a summary of this poem. In this poem, the poet describes the beauty of the nature of London Bridge, his journey with his sister Dorothy. On the page number 83, you can see there is brainstorming activity. So take your pen and with your notebook and then write down important points when I am teaching you. So first question is first activity first for preparing question based on the poem and overall understanding of the poem is must. So discuss with your partner and prepare a set of 5 questions. For example, what is the name of the bridge? First is given. आता क्वेश्चन्स विचारायचे आहेत बघा. क्वेश्चन बेस्ड ऑन दिस पोएम. ह्या पोएमवरती आधारित क्वेश्चन्स काही विचारायचे आहेत. जसे आपण इंटरव्ह्यू स्किलमध्ये आपण पाहू शकतो. ॲज इंडियन आर्मीमधल्या व्यक्तीला एखादा क्वेश्चन विचारू शकता तुम्ही की कशाप्रकारे इंडियन आर्मीमध्ये जॉईन होण्यासाठी, म्हणजे हे इंटरव्ह्यू स्किलसुद्धा आपण म्हणू शकतो. मग कुठले कुठले क्वेश्चन्स येऊ शकतात. फॉर एक्झाम्पल हिअर ऑलरेडी इज गिवन व्हॉट इज द नेम ऑफ द ब्रिज. त्या ब्रिजचं नाव काय होतं हे एक्झाम्पल घेऊ शकतो. नेक्स्ट वी कॉल्ड ॲज हू इज डल सोल. व्हॉट इज द टाईम ऑफ द डे. हाऊ डज लंडन लुक फ्रॉम वेस्टमिन्स्टर ब्रिज. हू इज द डल ऑफ सोल और व्हॉट इज द टाईम ऑफ द डे. तर आपल्याला ऑलरेडी माहीत आहे मॉर्निंग टाईम आहे. व्हॉट इज द टाईम ऑफ द डे. हाऊ डज लंडन लुक फ्रॉम वेस्टमिन्स्टर ब्रिज. How does London look for Westminster Bridge? What are the man-made constructions? मानवाने बनवलेले जे कन्स्ट्रक्शन्स आहेत ते कुठले कुठले आहेत. फॉर एक्झाम्पल हिअर वी ऑलरेडी सी अबाउट हिअर फर्स्ट सिटी शिप्स, टॉवर्स, डोम्स, थिएटर्स अँड टेम्पल्स. सो दीज आर द man-made constructions. Why does the sky look bright and glittering? For example, why does the sky look bright and glittering? How is the river flowing? How do the houses appear? Why does the poet feel so amazed? Why does the poet feel so amazed? Next one is why does the poet address God? So these are the questions. Understanding of the poem, that is the must, and prepare a set of 5 question, or you can prepare many question on this topic. For example, what is the name of the bridge, who is also, what is the time of the day, how does London look from Westminster Bridge, why does the sky look bright and glittery, what are the man-made constructions, how do the houses appear, why does the poet feel so amazed, why does the poet addresses God. These are the questions on this poem. Activity second. First, choose the correct alternative. Choose the correct alternative for the given lines. Focus on inference of the poet. A. Earth has not anything to show more fair. Earth has not anything to show more fair. The line means here alternatives are: first, the poet thinks that the place was not so good. First, the poet thinks that the place was not so good. Second, the poet thinks that there is another place which is more beautiful than this. Once again, I repeat the second alternative. The poet thinks that there is another place which is more beautiful than this. And last one is third. The poet thinks that there is no place. The poet thinks that there is no place on the earth which is as beautiful as this one. Which is beautiful as this one. So the poet thinks that earth has not anything to show more fair. Earth has not anything to show more fair. Answer is, and correct alternative is, the poet thinks that there is, third option, the poet thinks that there is no place on the earth which is as beautiful on this time. Second, B. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by. The lines means, first is, one can walk over the bridge and ignore the surrounding beauty. First option is, one can walk over the bridge and ignore the surrounding beauty. Second, one can halt at the place. One can halt at the place to enjoy the beauty. Third is, anyone with an appropriate mind would not be able to ignore the beauty. Anyone with an appreciative, as we called as a appreciative. For example, appreciative we write for example as appreciation, म्हणजे प्रशंसात्मक जे माइंड असतं, एक मन असतं. एनिवन विथ ॲन ॲप्रिशिएटिव्ह माइंड सो वुड नॉट बी एबल टू इग्नोर द ब्युटी. ज्या व्यक्ती किंवा जे खरोखरच कवी असतात त्यांना कुठल्याही दृश्यातून किंवा सुंदरतेतून ते कवयित्री किंवा कवी असतील ते आपली कविता रचत असतात. So that is the information about poet, his activity, his simplicity, or his choose as languages. That is the most important part. Anyone with an appreciative mind so would not be able to ignore the beauty. So dull would he be of soul who could pass by, and the lines means anyone with an, third option is correct, Anyone with an appreciative mind would not be able to ignore the beauty. Second, earth has not anything to show more fair. Earth has not anything to show more fair. This line expresses earth has not anything to show more fair. This line expresses the poet's feeling. The sight he saw from the bridge is beautiful. He saw from the bridge is beautiful. There are a few more lines similar to the above. With the help of your partner, find them and discuss what they express. The poem creates a delightful picture of the city, rich in its natural beauty. Work in pairs, groups, and pick out the lines from the poem which gives the as a pictorial effect to the poem. So write in it your own words. Write in your own words. So here we see earth has not anything to show more fair, and answer is, for example, this line expresses the poet's feeling. For example, as the sight he saw from the bridge is beautiful, and there are a few lines similar to the above, and find the discuss what they expresses. आता कुठल्या लाईन्स आहेत त्याच्यामध्ये तर बघा आपण पेज नंबर 82 वरती बघू शकतो. तर पहिल्या ज्या 3 लाईन्स आहेत तर कुठल्या अर्थ हॅज नॉट एनिथिंग टू शो मोर फेअर. अर्थ हॅज not anything to show more fair. Dull would he be of soul, dull would he be of soul, who could pass by a sight so touching in its majesty, a sight so touching in its majesty. This is the answer of this activity. Second, earth has not anything to show more fair. Next one is third. So the poet appreciate. First is called as the poet appreciate the fairness of majestic appearance. पहिल्यांदा पोएटने कशाचा अप्रिशिएट केलेला आहे मॅजेस्टिक अपीरियन्स ऑफ द साइट he sees in front of him. This line's meaning is he sees, the poet appreciates the fairness and majestic appearance of the sight and he sees in front of him. Second, कुठल्या लाईन्स आहेत बघा त्या. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by. So the poet is so confident of the beauty of the sight. The poet is so confident of the beauty of the sight that he feels only a dull soul is capable of missing the splendor of the sight. The poet is so confident of the beauty of the sight that he feels only a dull soul is capable of missing the splendor of the sight. Next line. This city now doth like a garment wear. This city now doth like a garment wear. This line vividly shows how the poet sees the city as a lady who is constantly changing the attire. Who is constantly changing the attire. Next line. All bright and glittering in the smokeless air. All bright and glittering in the smokeless air. So the beauty of the morning, according to the poet, the beauty of the morning is so breathtaking. So breathtaking because pollution has not yet spread its ugly wing over the city. That is the main point. He told about that the beauty of the morning is so breathtaking. Next line is the river glid at his own sweet will. The river glid at his own sweet will. The poet personifies the river by giving it its own will to move smoothly, to cooperate with the calm nature. The poet personifies the river by giving it its own will to move smoothly, to cooperate with the calm nature. And last line, never did the sun more beautifully steep in this first splendor, valley, rock, or hill. The poet feels that the beauty of London early in the morning even surpasses the beauty he has experienced in valley, rock, or hill. Next activity is third. The poem creates a delightful picture. The poem creates a delightful picture of the city, rich in its natural beauty. Work in pair, groups, and pick out the line from the poem which give the pictorial effect to the poet. So write it in your own words. When I am reading or teaching you any, for example, as a poem, then you understand. You can't understand when you first listen. So, you listen again and again this lecture, then you understand very well. That is the most important part. कधीही आपल्याला एकदा पोएम बघितलेली किंवा ऐकलेली लक्षात राहत नाही. So, answer of this activity third. A sight so touching in its majesty, the grandness of the scene, like the nature. The lower poet. The city now doth like a garment wear, so the beauty of the city in the morning is so unexpected to the poet that he picturizes the city wearing a different attire, and the beauty of the morning silent, bare. The reader can feel the calmness of city along with the poet, and all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. The beauty of the morning is so apparent because of the pollution free air, which makes the sun look brighter. The river glides at his own sweet will. The smooth flow of the river can be visualized, and all that mighty heart is lying still. So the busy city is lying silent early in the morning. We see here. A3 activity. Find out the words and phrases which describes the following. One is done for you. First here, sight. फर्स्ट इयर साईट. आता साईट याचा अर्थ काय की दृश्य. आपल्याला ऑलरेडी माहीत आहे साईट याचा अर्थ दृश्य. आता दृश्य कसं दाखवलेलं आहे. टचिंग इन इट्स मॅजेस्टी. टचिंग इन इट्स मॅजेस्टी. सेकंड, एअर. Air in this poem we called as a smokeless air. We called as a smokeless air here. For example, we called as a smokeless air. River glid at his own sweet will. Houses कशा आहेत. Seems asleep. जणू काही ते झोपी गेलेले आहेत, अजून उठलेले नाहीत. Morning, silent bear. We called as a silent bear. and sun we called as bright and glittering. Bright and glittering. So next is we called as, there is an example of, read the lines. City now doth like a garment wear. City now doth like a garment wear. The poet imagines that the city is wearing a beautiful garment. Hence, the figure of speech is personification. So find out more example of personification from the poem. आता पर्सॉनिफिकेशनची अजून उदाहरणे कुठली कुठली आहेत? फॉर एक्झाम्पल बघा, हे एक झालं. आता अजून आपण इथं पर्सॉनिफिकेशन म्हणजे चेतनगुणोक्ती अलंकार, तो अजून आपण इथं पाहू शकतो. अजून कुठल्या पोएममध्ये असेल तर ह्याच्यामध्ये बघा अजून आपण पाहू शकतो. The river glid, for example, these lines. The river glid at his own sweet will. These lines are personification. Then the very houses seems asleep. The very houses seems asleep. The very houses seems asleep. Here we called as a personification. Then we see, never did sun more beautifully steep. Underline this poem. Never did sun more beautifully steep. The sun is personified. Here we called as sun is beautiful, or we called as glittering and bright. The very houses म्हणजे हाऊसेसना केलेला आहे, रिव्हरला केलेला आहे personified. Here river is personified. ह्या लाईन्समध्ये never did sun more beautifully steep. The sun is personified. Okay. The river glid at his own sweet will. इथं कुणाला पर्सॉनिफाईड केलेलं आहे? The river is personified. The very houses seems asleep. So the houses are personified and almighty heart is lying still. The city is personified by giving it a heart. These are the personifications lines. हे personificationच्या लाईन्स आहेत. सेकंड आपण बघू शकतो. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by. This line of the poem can be rewritten as, he would be of dull soul. He would be of dull soul. The figure of speech is known as inversion. So find out one more example of inversion from the poem. आता इन्व्हर्जन याचा अर्थ काय? व्युत्क्रम. म्हणजे एखाद्या पोएमचा व्युत्क्रम लावणे, उलटसुलट लावणे. So dull would be the soul could pass by. So the order change or not effect. For example, dull would be changed by. So order change, that is the indirect we called as a. Here we see on the page number 182, never saw. बघा इथं ह्या पोएममध्ये इन्व्हर्जन कुठं अजून एक केलेलं आहे. नेव्हर सॉ, आय नेव्हर फेल्ट. फ्रॉम लास्ट पासून बघा फोर्थ लाईन. नेव्हर सॉ, आय नेव्हर फेल्ट a calm so deep, a calm so deep. The order of the words are changed for poetic effect. आणि हा इन्व्हर्जन का वापरला जातो तर द ऑर्डर ऑफ चेंज वर्ड्स वी कॉल्ड ॲज अ पोएटिक इफेक्ट. पोएमचा एक इफेक्ट, परिणाम दर्शवण्यासाठी अशा प्रकारे व्युत्क्रम केला जातो. ओके. नेक्स्ट इज, for example, here we see the poem is a Petrarchan sonnet. The poem is divided in two parts, an octave and sestet. So the meaning of octave, the first part comparing 8 lines we called as a octave and sestet the second part comprising 6 lines. ऑक्टेव जो असतो तो स्टांजा किती लाईनचा असतो तर 8 लाईनचा असतो अँड सेस्टेट असतो तो स्टांजा 6 लाईनचा असतो. वी कॉल्ड ॲज अ सेस्टेट. सो दिस इज वी कॉल्ड ॲज अ Petrarchan sonnet. Octave and sestet the first line or first part as a comprising 8 lines and the second part comprising as a 6 lines. Next is read the first 4 lines of the poem and the rhyme scheme is A B B A. Read the rhyme scheme for next 4 lines. It is A B B A. Now read the first 3 lines of the sestet and note the rhyme scheme. It is C D C. The rhyme scheme of the last 3 lines is we called as line is D C D. So this is the common design of a Petrarchan sonnet. This is a common design of a Petrarchan sonnet. Here we see this is the Petrarchan sonnet. We called as a complete the given table by giving examples from the poem. First features, second examples and lines. ऑब्जेक्ट्स यूज्ड फॉर एक्झाम्पल कुठले कुठले ऑब्जेक्ट याच्यामध्ये यूज केलेले आहेत एक्झाम्पल्स आणि लाईन्स कुठले आहेत बघा तर ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह यूज्ड फॉर एक्झाम्पल स्काय कॉमा सन fields, river, air, houses. Sky, sun, fields, river, air, houses. Praise and blames. Praise and blames. Bright, glittering, smokeless, calm. These are the praise. Blameless, the river glided at his own sweet will. The river glided at his own sweet will. The very houses seem asleep. Next is metaphor. Refer the poetic device section. Metaphor, refer the poetic device section. Next is simile. We called as for example same the topic refer the poetic devices section. आपण poetic devices section मध्ये पाहू शकतो किंवा ॲप्रिसिएशन मध्ये फिगर ऑफ स्पीच विचारले जातात त्यामध्ये ते आपण पाहू शकतो. पर्सोनिफिकेशनचं तर आपण आताच पाहिलेलं आहे. ओके नेक्स्ट आहे बघा नंबर ऑफ लाईन्स. आता नंबर ऑफ लाईन्स याच्यामध्ये एक्सप्लेनेशन कसं दिलं जातं बघा. नंबर ऑफ लाईन्स फॉर एक्झाम्पल आता पेट्राचन सोनॅशच्या लाईन ऑक्टेव अँड सस्टेट 8 आणि 6 मिळून किती होतात तर 14 लाईन्स. आणि राईम स्कीम काय आहे ए बी बी ए बी बी ए सी डी सी डी सी डी ह्या ही जी आहे ती राईम स्कीम आहे. लास्ट वन इज आता फोर्थ ॲक्टिव्हिटी काय सांगितलेली आहे बघा. कुठलीही ॲक्टिव्हिटी समजून घेताना त्याच्या अगोदर पोएम लक्षात घ्या नेहमी आणि ॲक्टिव्हिटीज बऱ्याचदा म्हणजे स्वतः सोडवण्याचा प्रयत्न करा जेणेकरून तुमच्या लक्षात येईल व्हॉट आर द डिफिकल्टीज वेन यू आर फॉर एक्झाम्पल ॲज दिस क्वेश्चन. सो दॅट इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंट पार्ट. राईट द प्राईड ऑफ एनी सिटी इज इट स्कायलाईन. द प्राईड ऑफ एनी सिटी इट इज अ स्कायलाईन. Write 5 lines about the place where you live. What makes you feel proud about it? आता बऱ्याच व्यक्तींना आपण जिथं राहतो त्या लाईन्स फॉर एक्झाम्पल तुम्ही तिथलं ॲप्रिसिएट करू शकता 5 लाईनमध्ये. आणि व्हॉट मेक्स यू फील प्राऊड अबाउट इट. तुम्हाला तुमच्या जागेचा अभिमान का वाटतो ती जागा कशासाठी महत्त्वाची आहे हे तुम्ही लिहू शकता. फॉर एक्झाम्पल आय ऑल्सो आय स्टे इन दहीगाव. सो द मॅक्झिमम माय city or my village is always buzzing with activities that make it one of the as a liveliest cities or a village in the world as it is very often said. आता मी एक उदाहरण तुम्हाला इथं चांगल्या प्रकारे देऊ शकतो. आय स्टे इन सांगलीचं एक उदाहरण देऊ शकते. म्हणजे मी माझं उदाहरण देते. तुम्ही तिथं काय करायचं आहे ॲक्टिव्हिटीज ज्या असतात त्या ॲक्टिव्हिटीजमध्ये तुम्हाला मार्क्स केव्हा पडतील when you express your own experience in this writing skill. That is the most important part. So I stay, when I stay in Sangli, so I stay in Sangli, the maximum city, so my city is always buzzing with activities. I love everything about Sangli, but what I enjoy the most is to stare, for example, watching the majestic Caribbean Sea. So we call that, but I mean, पण आता मी कुठं आहे, in city of नातेपुते. सो दॅट इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंट पार्ट. मग तुम्ही नातेपुते सिटीमधलं तुम्ही तुमचं एक्सपिरियन्स लिहू शकता, तुम्ही कुठल्या स्थळात राहता आणि ते जागा इम्पॉर्टन्स काय आहे हे लिहा. तुम्ही ज्या ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग ॲक्टिव्हिटीजमधल्या ॲक्टिव्हिटीज आहेत तुमच्या गाईड्समध्ये असतील किंवा नोटबुक ह्याच्यामध्ये असतील, तर त्या न लिहिता तुम्ही स्वतः ॲक्टिव्हिटी लिहायच्या आहेत, मनाच्या लिहायच्या आहेत, जेणेकरून तुमच्या लक्षात येईल की डिफिकल्टीज काय येतात आपण सोडवताना. There is a common belief that cities have always flourished only after human intrusion over nature. Write a speech expressing your opinion about that. So, there is a common belief that cities has always flourished only after human industries nature. So, write a speech expressing your opinion about this. तुम्ही त्याच्यामध्ये स्पीच लिहू शकता. आता स्पीच जे आहे ते सुद्धा तुम्ही स्वतः तयार करू शकता किंवा तुम्ही फॉर एक्झाम्पल विथ द हेल्प ऑफ नेट, तुम्ही नेटच्या साहाय्याने तिथं वेगवेगळे स्पीच जे आहे ते तयार करून लिहू शकता. ओके. सेकंड इज कंपोज अ पोएम ऑन इमॅजिनरी विलेज. ट्राय टू मेंटेन राईम स्कीम इन द पोएम. सो यू मे बिगिन लाईक धिस. तुम्ही समजा की तुम्ही एक कवी आहात आणि कवी काय करत असतो, ज्यावेळेस पोएम लिहित असतो त्यावेळेस ते राईम स्कीम आले पाहिजे, त्याच्यामध्ये एखादा अलंकार आला पाहिजे, फिगर ऑफ स्पीच आलं पाहिजे. जशा पॅसेजमध्ये लाईन्स असतात तशा पोएम्समध्ये लाईन्स असतात, हे तुम्हाला बऱ्यापैकी माहीत आहेत, नसतात. ओके. सेट इथं लाईन्स दिलेले आहेत. विथ द हेल्प ऑफ दिस लाईन्स यू मेक युअर ऑन पोएम ऑन दिस टॉपिक. सेटल्ड ऑन द बँक ऑफ रिव्हर. Settled on the bank of a river like a queen is my beautiful village full of bushes green. And you complete these lines. Okay. Next one is write an appreciation of the sonnet. Refer the earlier poem for the points to be covered for appreciation. आता पॉईंट्स टू बी कवर्ड ॲप्रिसिएशनसाठी कुठले कुठले पॉईंट्स महत्त्वाचे आहेत हे मी तुम्हाला सांगितलेलं आहे आणि ॲप्रिसिएशनच्या नोट्स मी तुम्हाला पाठवलेल्या आहेत, तर त्या तुम्ही काय करायच्या आहे, नोट डाऊन करायच्या आहेत. ॲप्रिसिएशनसाठी पोएट, फॉर एक्झाम्पल पोएट, टायटल, थीम ऑफ द फॉर एक्झाम्पल थीम ऑफ द पोएम. नेक्स्ट वन इज फिगर ऑफ स्पीच, युअर ओपिनियन अबाउट दिस पोएम and the poetic style. That are the most important part of when you are writing appreciation. Okay. Fourth, write a summary of the sonnet or refers to the earlier poem for the point to be covered for writing the summary. आता सारांश लिहायचा आहे. मी तुम्हाला सारांश सुरुवातीला सांगितलेला आहे बिगिनिंग ऑफ दिस लेक्चर. While building a bridge, a group of people come together. They are architects, designers, engineers, officers, as a masons, politician, buildings, material supplier, carpenter, etc. So write about the qualification of these people and choose any career from the list above and complete the table. So your choice of career and skill and qualification. आता सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं, तुम्ही पहिल्यांदा तुमचं करिअर चूज केलं पाहिजे आणि नंतर त्याच्यासाठी स्किल कुठलं आहे आणि त्याच्यासाठी क्वालिफिकेशन काय लागतं हे महत्त्वाचं आहे. मी पहिल्या लेक्चरपासून बघा तुम्हाला सांगते की पहिल्यांदा तुम्ही हे ठरवा तुमचं एम काय आहे. हाऊ टू सक्सेस इन युअर लाईफ. यू फर्स्ट सिलेक्ट युअर व्ह्यूज और यू फर्स्ट सिलेक्ट युअर ग्रेट एम. आय विल ग्रेट एम, दॅट इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंट. यू सिलेक्ट युअर great aim, then you continuously hard work for this and perseverance. So for example, I first give here civil engineer. आता सिव्हिल इंजिनियरसाठी स्किल अँड क्वालिफिकेशन काय लागतं, तर बॅचलर डिग्री इन सिव्हिल इंजिनिअरिंग. यू नो अबाउट दॅट बॅचलर डिग्री इन सिव्हिल इंजिनिअरिंग. स्किल्ड इन मॅथ्स अँड फिजिक्स, मॅप रीडिंग द ब्लू print, design technique, computer aided design software. आणि आर्किटेक्टमध्ये काय लागतं, मास्टर डिग्री इन आर्ट, आर्किटेक्चर, सो ड्रॉइंग, डिझाईन, ideas, imaginative, creative thinking, ability to assess problems critically. Last one is project. Given below are a few famous bridges in India. Find out more information about them and write in your notebook. The Haworth Bridge, B. Lakshman Zula. बघा, सी. Pamban Bridge, Worli Ceiling. So these are the project subject bridge in India. That is the most important part. So there is the mistake in pronunciation. ह्याच्यात pronunciation जे आहेत ते different आहेत. I hope you have understood very well. Thank you very much. When you see this lecture, so please send me brainstorming activity, and you also for example, as whenever you see this lecture, that is the most important, you subscribe this channel. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you have understood very well. Thank you very much. Goodbye. If you don't understand this lecture, then you can call me, then I will help you. Thank you very much.